You're welcome to News from the States, where we bring you reports on key developments across Nigeria's 36 states. I am Adebanke Odunui, and we begin with Niger State, where the government is moving to calm growing fears over the safety of children in schools following the recent abductions that devastated families across the state. Stakeholders in the educational sector have come together, searching for answers and assurances to classrooms becoming safe again for learning. Senior reporter Chenemi Bami reports.
For many parents in Niger State, the fear is real and deeply personal. Just 1 month ago, more than 300 pupils and teachers were abducted from St. Mary's Primary and Secondary School in Papiri. Children who left home for school that morning did not return, although they were later released in 2 batches. The scars remain. For parents, the mention of school now triggers anxiety, not excitement. The incident forced the state government to shut down schools across Niger State, a move aimed at preventing further attacks. As January 2026 approaches, when schools are expected to reopen, parents say one thing is clear: without solid security measures, sending their children back would be too risky. Their concerns goes beyond education. It is about survival. Who protects children in isolated schools, and how learning can happen under the shadow of fear. In response, the Niger State Office of School Reforms, working with the Federal Ministry of Education, convened a stakeholders meeting in Mina to confront the issue head-on.
We have to look at the terrain of some of these our schools. If we look at the terrain and we see it to be unsafe, we turn them to day schools for now in the interim and concentrate most of our boarding schools in the urban.
The problem affected education in terms of security, but it is not the responsibility of education sector alone to bring about school safety and security for our children. It's a whole state approach. We must approach it, and every sector must get involved in terms of this issue, including communities.
Education officials, school administrators, and security stakeholders used the forum to examine practical steps to secure schools and restore parents' confidence.
Especially the fencing. You is supposed to have complete fences around the school.
To make sure our schools are safe, free for our children to come to school. Every child should go to school feeling safe, feeling comfortable. No child should be afraid of going to school.
Hopefully, in January 2026, schools will reopen all across Niger State, but the security of the schools remain a major concern, which is why stakeholders meetings like this are important to ensure that schools are properly secured for these children. Chenemi Bami, TVC News, Mina.
Senior reporter Chenemi Bami now joins us from Niger State to give us more details. Chenemi, this abduction clearly shook parents across Niger State. From your reporting, how deep is the fear among families as school prepared to reopen next month?
Hi, Banke. First, Merry Christmas. And I can tell you that parents are really, really concerned because this wave of attacks is not the first. It has happened too many times. Not just in schools alone, even in places of worship. If you could remember, in 2021, there was similar abduction at an Islamic education center called Islamia, the Tanko Islamia Center in 2021, where over 90 pupils were abducted. Now, that's not even a conventional school; it's an Islamic school. So even if schools get to reopen and then some form of security is provided, how about these other places where children gather and where people gather? So the conversation is a bit broader, but I can tell you that parents are concerned and they want certain level of assurance from the government. Now, most of the schools within the urban areas are not affected, which speaks to the government's plan to convert to ensure that the boarding schools within the urban centers keep operating, but those in the interlands are converted to day schools, at least for the period of time, to ensure that adequate security is provided, just to give parents some assurance.
Okay, so the state government previously shut down schools following the abductions. How effective would you say this decision was in calming tensions and preventing further attacks?
Oh, definitely, it was a step in the right direction for the state government, and that decision actually came on time because after the time when the government shut down schools, there was a series of attacks against schools across different parts of Nigeria, and some of these schools were targeted. According to intelligence reports from the DSS, that some of the schools were being targeted. So it was wise that the state government shut down schools, and it calmed issues a bit. At least parents were sure that their kids were there at home, and they were sure of their security and safety. So it was quite effective. All schools shut down, including private schools. But coming January, that's where the conversation is when it comes to matters of reopening.
Okay, senior reporter Chenemi Bami, thank you for joining us and season's greetings. Moving on to our
Thank
next
you.
story.